well, what could I possibly be doing with boxes from Victory Glass and a 1970s jukebox? Hey everyone, I'm Stuart, and in this video we take a look at a Seeburg Vogue and some very cool upgrades. Stick around because this is cool. Well, this is pretty exciting. The only issue is this smaller box has received a little bit of damage. The reinforced tape is ripped there, and obviously you can see the box got squished by the postal service. That's how that one came. This box here has just got a tiny bit of damage in it. Probably nothing, a couple of impact wounds. But yeah, this one's the worry because that would have been squashed right down. So I'm a bit nervous. Hopefully that's well packed in there and there's no damage. So, well, let's just talk about the jukebox in question. I think it's a 1973 or 1974 Seeburg Vogue, also known as the STD 160. I've had it for a very long time. It originally came from Karratha. It was in a sorry old state. It actually was gifted to me by a lady up there. She actually just said you could have it because it was in such bad shape. All I had to do was pay for transport. When it first arrived here in Perth, I actually had to pull the whole thing down back to the base and remake the bottom of the cabinet. So I used the old pieces of jig and rerouted that exactly, and it turned out very well. And then the machine received a bit of a makeover, including some re-chrome and the usual stuff. At that time, that jukebox also received some new capacitors into the amplifier, and the black and grey boxes were rebuilt by a guy in the US. I forget his name, but when we work on the jukebox, I had a funny feeling he may have put a sticker or a name on them when he rebuilt those. These ones are just spares that I've got because I believe I'm going to need these. Anyway, more on that later. Well, let's get on with the unboxing. Well, there's plenty of bubble wrap by the looks, so I don't think anything would be harmed in that. So the first thing out of the box is, this is a new keypad actually. That looks really cool. Isn't it amazing that you can get some of these new products now? Because the original keypads in these machines that have the black and grey boxes can be troublesome. So that's probably a good fix. All right, now here's part of what might be interesting. So actually you can see that the box has copped a decent hit because look at the paper there. So yeah, look, this is the magic box available through Victory Glass for Seeburg micrologs. It says jukebox models LS3 through to STD4. All right, more on that. This is just an unboxing at this stage, so we'll probably be looking over some more of that later. Okay, so this is part of it. This is like a control box. I can see volume up and down, power, reject. So it's not the first time we've had available for some jukeboxes this kind of stuff. I'll quickly go grab actually another version which used to be. So this is what's just come from Victory, but just by comparison, you were able to get some devices over the years for Seeburg jukeboxes. This was one that was available some time ago. This one actually never even made it into a machine. So this is like a control box, and it also has power, power on off, volume up and down, reject. This one also had in it some controls which helped you change the audio a little bit. Anyway, so that's just showing you that this is not the first device available, but I guess this is going to be quite different. What have we got here? A couple of capacitors in a bag and a wiring harness. Seeburg Magic Box by Victory Glass and Juke Talk. And that's the Bluetooth symbol. All right, let's move on. Well, I don't know if you remember years ago buying from Victory, you'd get gigantic boxes full of white peanuts, and you'd make a hell of a mess unwrapping their stuff. All right, so in this box we now have two smaller boxes. Well, this is all very professionally packed. All right, relay box for Seeburg Magic Box. That's just what looks like basic installation instructions. So this, I'm guessing, is the box for just power on off. So there might be some differences here in Australia to get an Australian plug on this. I'm not sure, or whether I just wire this in and leave my Australian plug, just wire this inside the machine. We'll find out soon enough. All right, that's one. Seeburg SHP4-Lite Power Amplifier. So this is quite an upgrade. Actually, to use some of this other stuff, I'm not sure that I needed this, but my Seeburg jukebox actually sounds really, really good at the moment. But it actually, as good as it sounds, it still has an underlying issue with volume up and down all on its own. So you'll have the jukebox playing in the background. I'll be working on something else, and every now and again the volume drops, say, down to 50 or 75 to 50% of what it was, maybe for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and then the volume comes back up on its own. So I think either my amplifier or some of the wiring around it has an issue. I'm not sure that this will solve it, but maybe it will. So this is just, this piece of paper here is just a installation instruction by the look. That actually looks very simple, and I can imagine this really is just a plug and play thing. But how cool is this in 2025 to be getting some of these awesome products? I mean, look at that. How well built does that look? It looks as good as anything that Seeburg would have made back in the day. I think this was actually the most expensive part out of all this stuff that I have purchased. I'll be really interested to hear how this sounds, because the jukebox sounded pretty good anyway. Actually, my Seeburg Vogue is the best sounding 45 playing jukebox that I've ever had. Sounds awesome and looks fantastic, especially in the dark. Well, all right, well, we can put that away for a minute. All right, well, just more on this magic box. Congratulations on purchasing this Victory Glass Magic Box for your Seeburg Microlog based jukebox. This unit replaces the original DTP1, aka black box, in your machine, which is responsible for reading selections entered on the keypad and then sending them to the DRD1 grey box. The black box not only performs the same functions as the original black box, but but also adds many more exciting features to make your Seeburg more functional and enjoyable, such as Bluetooth audio streaming, the Jukebox app for iPhone and Android. Well, I have a Samsung, so I'll be using Android. Allows for remote selections, volume control, record cancel, random selections, top tunes, bass and treble adjustments, and remote power control with the optional relay box, which we've got. Additional functions via keypads such as cancel, random selections, top tunes, and bass and treble controls. Free play operation. All right, the Magic Box can be used. The Magic Box can be used with your original Jukebox's original amplifier, except model LS3. The Magic Box bypasses the preamp, bass and treble controls, and rotary volume. Okay. If you also wish to be able to control the power of your Jukebox from the wide remote control on or Jukebox app, you will need the Victory Glass Relay Box part number 63-7232, and I think that was in the other box. So I guess for me, the only thing of concern that I read here would be this Jukebox app. So, and there's nothing wrong with apps, but just an example is a friend of mine had purchased a probe for his barbecue, which also spoke to his mobile phone. Similar thing, had an app, worked great. But then later down the track, all of a sudden, that company is no longer, and no longer is the app. So then all of a sudden, that special barbecue pro was rendered useless. So one can only hope that this Jukebox app is easy to use and always there. Well, just breezing through this. Installation steps. Oh, so look, here's the installation steps. So my kit has come, what do you call it? My kit, mine is, the one I've ordered is the kit where you use your own box. So I won't be using the box that's in my Jukebox currently. I've got two old black boxes here to choose from. These are from work years ago. I've actually got a box of these, but I just pulled these two out off the top. This one's got not working twos error from March 2012, and this one just says blows receiver fuse. So they're both not working. This one actually has the sticker from a repair company from years ago that actually hasn't been broken. Doesn't actually say a name, it just says 8 Mile Road, Hazel Park, MI. Where that is in the US, I don't know. I wonder if they're still in business. Void if broken. But look, so I will be gutting one of these and installing these parts into one of these boxes, because my black box in the machine I think works fine. It was actually rebuilt. So installation steps. When I look at some of these components, I think someone really spent some time on this, which is fantastic. There really is some guys around the place who really know their stuff, isn't there? So I'm sure these instructions are pretty basic. Oh, and look, I see. It is strongly recommended to install the arc suppression capacitors. And look, is that a sticker? Seeburg Magic Box by Victory Glass. Does that actually go on the black box, or does that go on the machine? I don't know. It probably says where that sticker goes in here. And this last page here looks like it's about using the actual app. Well, that looks really cool. Let's get in there and get this stuff in the machine and see how it goes. Okay, out with the old and in with the new. Yeah, so this was Nick's Jukebox Repair, and that's his labels. Remember I talked about that before. Nick's Jukebox Repair. I wonder if he's still going. Well, I've just been fooling around with the jukebox. It's been quite fun. This app was really easy to set up, just using the code with my phone. It worked first time. Alright, well I think I'm done setting up. That was an easy scan of that to get the app. That was relatively simple. So I think you just put in your song numbers as you usually would. Instead of here, you can now enter it here. Whoa. No. Oh. Oh, how cool is that? This looks like a volume slider. Oh yeah. Yeah, wow. And oh, look at that. Excellent. And then the other thing is just this Juke Talk audio. That's to stream other music from your phone. I found it as it was just BT speaker, so I can now play a song from here. There we go. So I can just volume up and down there. There is also Bluetooth volume up and down buttons there, so I don't know how that works yet with the other volume. I don't know if it's main volume and a sub volume or something. We can also make it go up and down here. the way, this is a band that my son is in. So you can now make a selection what that does. I'm assuming it will go across to the record you picked. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Check that. Oh, and it goes back to the song playing here. Well, there you have it. That was quite simple and easy, and of course, power. So, the way I've wired up my jukebox, I will still be turning it off at the wall when the machine's not in use. Okay, well, let's go over this quickly once again. So I've got it connected to Bluetooth speaker, and with that we can then, I can play this song here because this is my son's band. And there we go. And we can just volume up and down. We can volume up. We can volume up and down with that. Then I can show you the Juke Talk app, where we can then override that with a song on the jukebox. 1, 2, 6. See, the jukebox is scanning now, and when it picks that up, it'll override. See there, once it got its audio signal. Check that. So we've got volume here as well. Mute. And then also we can actually power the jukebox on and off. There. Back on again. And then we've also got the controls here. Where we can volume down and see up and down on the app. See how that's going up and down while I'm manually doing it here. Quite clever. And I wonder if I could just press random selection now and it'll just go get a record. Oh yeah, look. You see the lights go here when it makes a selection. 102. 102, I should say.
Hi, my name is what?
Yep. Okay. Reject. Well, there we go. I think you get the gist of it. All right, well, last words. This may not be for the purist. I certainly wouldn't go removing a valve amp to do something like this. But in this situation, it's solid state for solid state. I can live with that, especially because it's plug and play. Also, it's fantastic that some people have gone to all this effort to make such a thing. I think it breathes new life into a jukebox. So, and even more so for a younger generation to make it more interesting. So it's really fantastic, really cool. Well, if you like that, you know what to do, and I'll see you on the next one.